Hello, hello. It is Chitter Chatter time. Hello, ladies. Come on in. It is so good to have you here for another episode of Chitter Chatter. So we are live right now, ladies. We are live. So go ahead, take a second to drop a comment, drop a like, share, let me know that you're here. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. It is time to chitter chatter. Hello, Miss Kiwanis. It is so good to see you here. I am so happy to have you ladies here with me tonight. I'm ready to get going tonight, ladies. We are talking about sex, ladies. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about, you know the rest. We are talking about sex tonight, ladies. A much needed discussion in our community. Thank you so much. I put this together just in the wind. Actually, my dad is my stylist. He got me this shirt. So, ladies, we are diving into sex tonight. And that is why I have on my print tonight, because I'm Plum of the Jungle. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly when it comes to sex. I'm going to share two very personal stories here with you tonight. I will be sharing a story with you that happened when I was a little girl that kind of affected me growing up. And it's a story that I have never shared with anyone. So I'm going to be sharing it with you here on this live. And I'm going to be telling you my virginity story, how I lost it, not who I lost it to. He know who he is, and those that were there knows who he is. So I'm just going to be telling you the situation and the circumstance until which it went down. So, as you know, before we get started, ladies, we're going to go ahead and fix our drink. And tonight, it's real simple because we're talking about sex, ladies. We are drinking wine. I am drinking the Taylor Port, and I found a new flavor, Marsala. That's what I'm calling it. If it's not Marsala, if it's not Marsala, hey, it's Marsala today. That's what we are drinking. Oh my God, Miss Dorothy, she got her hoop today. Thank you, ladies. If you ladies have not gotten your fitness hoop, then jump right over to shop.blackgirlbeautyinc.org and get your fitness hoop right now because, ladies, we are jumping into fitness. And while we're speaking about sex, those hoops, ladies, get those hips rocking and rolling and twisting. And when I tell you that it really just gives you a whole new rhythm, and you need rhythm, sex is a rhythmatic. Just finished a bottle of Taylor Port. Let me tell you, the Taylor Port, I'm noticing wine when it comes to me and wine, because I'm not really a whiner. Percentages matter, and that 18%, honey, ladies, it just does it every time. Taylor Port. This is a new flavor. I've had the tawny, I've had the sherry, I've had the regular Taylor, and now we're taking the Marsala. So, ladies, get your hoops, and we are joining in. So let me go ahead and fix my drink because something new that we're starting, that we started last week, ladies. We take a toast together in the beginning, and we're going to toast out. We toast in once we pour our drinks. Luckily, I'm not making a drink. It's just the wine. So I can just pour it on up. And we're going to begin with our toast. Go ahead and turn you down, honey. I can go ahead and turn that off. So we can go ahead and get started with our toast because I got the music blasting in my ear. But ladies, I want us to understand when we come to Chitter Chatter, this is where we come to discuss what matters. And first, we want to relax. And tonight we're drinking wine because, ladies, wine makes you feel sexy. Wine gets you in the mood to be sweet. Wine keeps you exactly where you need to go when you're trying to get the mood right. So if a man is really trying to wine and dine you, ladies, he's going to get you some wine. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to toast it up. And what we do is we tap the screen. So, ladies, get your glasses and go ahead and tap the screen one time for our toast. Hate when I do that. But welcome to Chitter Chatter, ladies. Hopefully it's not going down the wrong pipe on like it is on me. Hello, Miss Dorothy. I am so thankful to have you here. You look up, well, can't see you, but I'm absolutely positive that you look amazing as well. If you're just now tuning in, hey, Miss Ricky, Go ahead. You can go. I can go ahead and send you a link and you can join in, lady. We're talking about sex tonight. And everyone has, come on, ladies. Everyone has a sex story. And in honor of Mother's Day, we are speaking on sex. What made you ladies mothers? Without it, you wouldn't be. So we are tapping into that, ladies. We are going to discuss why it is in our community that we don't even talk about sex as much as we need to until we start having it. Why is it that we don't talk about it, ladies? We're tapping into that here tonight. But before we get into our topic, I'm going to tell you 5 ways that you can connect with Le Plum, Uniquia. You can look me up on Instagram. I am Uniquia. That's IamUniquia.com. No, I am Uniquia. That's on Instagram. And you can also look me up on my website, IamUniquia.com, which is IAUNIQUIA.com. And we have blackgirlbeautyinc.com. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm Coco Plum, 2 U's, COCOPLUUM on Twitter. YouTube, I am Uniquia Manigault. That's again, UNIQUIA MANIGAULT, the very best last name in the world. Moving right along, ladies. You can also follow me on, I already said, LinkedIn. I'm Uniquia Manigault as well. And those are ways that you can connect with me. You can also tune in, join our Facebook group. If you're on Facebook and you have not yet joined our group, you can, okay. If you have not already joined in our Facebook group, you can join in our Facebook group that is blackgirlbeautyinc.org on Facebook. And that is where we put all of our updates. That is where we keep all the information and everything that we have going on as far as what's going on with Black Girl Beauty. You can contact Miss Amanda Manigault there. You can contact Uniquia there. We keep updates as far as what's going on with the Black Girl Beauty, what's going on with our model aerobics, what's going on with our classes, continuing education classes. In our Facebook group, that is where we keep everything logged on, and you can join us on there as well. So, ladies, what's new with Uniquia? As I told you last week, this week is where I'm going to be letting you ladies know that next week we will be starting our model aerobics. So if you're ready to learn how to walk, if you're ready to tap into how to swing, twist, and turn in these heels, then that is where I need you ladies to be next Wednesday for our model aerobics class. I will be doing 6 ladies only for our first class, just to get you guys into the groove. We're going to be doing turns. We're going to be doing runway walks. We're going to be doing poses. We're going to be doing, and actually, I'm going to offer that to the younger children as well, because it's in class where you can just learn how to move and groove in your heels. And I'm going to also have a few routines put together, and I'll be doing them to a few songs by a few artists that I know. So it's going to be a collaboration of a lot of things with our model aerobics. It's time to get into tip-top shape, ladies. We are hooping. We're doing fitness hoops. We are working out. We are doing challenges. We are doing model aerobics, because what I didn't know until I took a little break is that modeling keeps you in shape. You want to know why I eat so much and don't gain any weight? It's because I'm always walking in these heels. I had to figure out they burning my calories. They knocking them down. And on that note, ladies, we gonna take one sip. You are always trying to get rid of them calories any way that you can. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into our topic. Let's talk about sex. What is sex, ladies? First of all, it's more than a physical. When we think sex, the first thing that normally comes to our mind is just laying down with a man or woman and just getting in each other's private area. Sex is a whole lot more than that. It's mental, it's physical, it's spiritual. When you start having sex, you really tap into someone else's whole body. You're letting them into your body and you're exposing yourself to them. So one of the first questions that normally come to mind when you think about sex is, when'd you lose your virginity? Speaking of virginities, we're going to go ahead and tell my virginity story. Well, you know what? Before I tell my virginity story, I'm going to trickle into a situation that happened to me when I was a little girl. And this is basically, I'm telling you this story because this is why we have to talk to our children about sex. because sometimes things happen to us while we're kids and we don't really know how to decipher them. When I was a little girl, maybe about 7, 6, 7, me and my brother, we were staying at a family member's house, and we were just there for a little while my mom, I don't even know what she was doing. I can't even tell you. I was that young. I don't know if we were there for the weekend or if we were there for the summer. I can't even tell you all that. And the fact that I can't tell you that is even better, because I don't need nobody trying to dig and trying to figure out who, what, when, where, why. But that's where me and my brother were. And there was another cousin that was staying there with us. And he and I were in a room together. And now, as a little girl who grew up around all boys, all brothers, mostly men, I was used to like hanging around guys and like leaning on my cousins. We leaned on each other. We fought. We laid up. We watched movies together. We hugged on each other. We touched each other. And and I don't mean like funny touching. It's like, it's nothing for my cousin to lean on me. It's nothing for my cousin to lay on my leg. It's nothing for my cousin to like fall down and lay on top of me. It's nothing for us to be affectionate as far as hugging and loving on each other. And I said all that to say, it's because of that I didn't recognize what was going on between me and this particular cousin that's not really a cousin, but like that's a whole nother conversation. But he was older than me. He was probably about my brother's age. My brother is 7 years older than me. So if I was 7, he was like 14, 15, 16. He might have been older than my brother. I'm not even 100% positive. I'm in a room with him. We were in like a little room, and I'm playing with my Barbies. Anybody know me, you know I'm a Barbie doller. So I was playing with my Barbies, and he came into the room, and it was like this little blow-up bed on the middle of the floor. He comes in, and he gets in the blow-up bed, and he was like, come here. So I came, and I got over, I sat on the bed with him. We get under the covers, and he was like touching my leg and rubbing on me. But like I told you, me as a little girl who was used to my cousins, like none of my cousins ever rubbed on me. But that's why I didn't really take what he was doing any type of way, because all he was doing was touching me, but it wasn't anything serious. But before it even got any further than it could have gone, my brother came in, and he like, yo, what you doing with my sister? And then they get into it. My brother beat him up. And all the while, I'm like a 7-year-old little girl witnessing all that, what I just told you happened. I'm in the room playing with my Barbies, minding my own business. He's like, come here. I came. I'm thinking it's my cousin. I'm coming, playing with my Barbies, talking, being a little girl. He's touching and on me, and I'm not really understanding what's going on. I really didn't even know anything wrong was going on. So all of that's happening. My brother, he's older. He knew instantly what was going on when he came in, and he roughed him up. And that was the end of that situation for me for the rest of our time there. Well, when my mom came to finally pick us up, she came to me and she was like, yo, why you didn't tell me what happened? Why you didn't tell me about the situation that happened with you and such and such? And I was like, what happened? I had no idea anything wrong had happened between he and I. So when my mom came to me and was like, what happened? You should have told me. Anytime something like that happened to you, you tell me. I was like, I literally had no idea what happened. So what I did as a 7-year-old little girl, 6-year-old, I don't know how old I was, I went back and I thought about everything that happened in that moment, thinking, what could I have done wrong? What could he have done wrong? And why was it something that I needed to tell my mom and it was so urgent? And what was it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I'm saying all that to say, as women, we need to learn how to speak to our children so that they know how to decipher what's going on. It should have been said to me, hey, if any man if any man is touching on you in any type of way, come get under a blanket, touch on you, you need to let me know, because that's not supposed to be going on. Because I literally didn't know. So I took it as anytime, as a kid, I took it as anytime a man touches me that's not my like brother or cousin or anything like that, then it's wrong, it's bad, and I need to alert myself. I'm saying that to say, believe it or not, the little things affect you. I have grown into a full-grown woman with that. That was the beginning concept for me. Anytime a man touches me, that's not my brother, my cousin, I'm talking about touches me in any type of way, get on alert. And it's minor as a 7-year-old. But when you're 30 and you're dating guys and you're wondering why every time, a guy touches you, you immediately get mean or immediately like, hey, bro, I see what you're doing. Like any guy that has ever been with me can tell you, as soon as the situation get a little extracurricular, I immediately tense up. And I mean, it's a good thing for me now, But me understanding and figuring myself out, I'm seeing how it developed. And I told you that whole story to understand this is why you need to talk to your daughters about sex. What you need to speak, not even necessarily sex. You need to speak to your children about situations that may occur with them in males or them in women, if you have a son, that aren't necessarily sexual, but this is what leads to sex. If this is happening, you need to understand that this could lead to this and this could lead to this, because when they don't know, they don't know. And when they don't know, the next time they end up in a situation kind of similar to that, it may go a little further, because the last time it happened, they weren't 100% certain what went wrong. They literally didn't know. Like I told you, as a 6 or a 7-year-old little girl, I had no idea what was going on. As a grown woman looking back on it, I can see it as, yo, my cousin he was probably really about to do me in there. Like, he was probably really about to have his way with me. Had my brother not been there, I don't know. I really don't know where the situation could have gone. And I grew up with that. And I'm gonna tell you, it's a subconscious thing, because I happened to bump into that cousin years later. I'm grown, he's grown, and the way he looked at me, he gave me one of those looks that was like, I don't even want to talk about it, but the way he looked at me sent a shock through my entire body. And I'm just telling you, you be thinking things don't affect you. You think things that happen to you, or they kind of just happen to you and it's in the past and it don't bother you. No, baby, you got to tap into that. You got to understand what that is. You have to digest that and speak to someone and really understand what it is that happened. And then also, you need to make the relationship with your kids comfortable so that they know to come to you. Like I said, I didn't know I had did anything wrong. And as a kid, I didn't want to get in trouble. So I didn't know how to come to my mom and say, and it really never even crossed my mind again for a long time, until I think I seen that cousin again. I was like, oh, I got a weird vibe from him. And it kind of triggered me back to that situation that happened, because for all those years, I didn't even know that was a bad situation. Like, I didn't really know what happened. Also, because my brother walked in and didn't get too far, nothing did happen. But if something were that, it could have been worse. I know family members and friends that were in situations that were worse. There wasn't someone there for them. And the same situation I was in could have been the same situation they were in. They just didn't even know it was going wrong, because 2 seconds too late, it could have been wrong. 1 second, not soon enough, it could have been wrong. And I could have been affected for life. It's important that we talk to our children so that they know. You also know when to speak up and how to say. So I'm going to take that situation. And that was the very first situation I may have ever come in contact with when it comes to any type of extracurricular sexual activities. But I was already at a halt moving forward, because anytime a man touched me, I was instantly on guard, on go. And it sounds good in theory. Like, you want your daughter to tense up or get stiff every time she comes around guys that are trying to be affectionate with her, until she's grown and she's really trying to see why these relationships aren't working out for her, and why she's so stiff and so mean, and why things are against her. It's a psychological thing. And that's why we have to speak to our daughters, not because we want them to be so overly informed, or we want them to just be so ahead of our times or know than they're supposed to know. We want them to be aware of the things that could happen to them. We want them to know how to protect themselves, know how to speak up, and to recognize situations when you're in them. You're not going to always know what's going to happen to your child, but you need to know to inform them, so that if had I had a conversation about situations going too far, I may have seen my cousin touching on my leg as, hey, what you doing? Because I will say, none of my cousins ever rubbed my leg. We don't do no rubbing, and we were rough. So laying on each other is one thing. Rubbing and touching on each other is a whole nother thing. But me thinking that he's like in all my other cousins, I didn't even put it all together. That's another conversation you have to have with your children. All your cousins, all your family members, they're not all good. They're not all go. It's not any cousin, family, friend, any family member, any person, period, that asks you to keep a secret from your parents or any other adults. Those are not good people. Those are conversations that we have to have with our kids to protect them sexually. Because if you don't want to have the conversation with your child about what will happen when you have sex, what won't happen when you have sex, you need to have conversations that protect them in case they end up in a sexual situation. That was my very first encounter when it came to sex. And that is why, though, that's just a prime example of why conversations need to be had. Because I had literally had no idea anything had gone wrong. And it wasn't explained to me what I did wrong. So I didn't know if I had did something wrong or if he had did something wrong. And I'm not saying this to say anything about anybody. All I'm saying is we got to talk to our daughters, ladies. We got to talk to we have to talk to our sons, because believe it or not, little boys get molested as well. We try to sweep it under the rug and act like it doesn't happen and it's a shameful thing, but we have to discuss it. If we discuss it in our communities more often, it'll stop happening, because little boys will understand this can happen to you. Little girls will understand this can happen to you. Like we want to protect our children, but we also have to make them aware that things can happen to them against their will, especially if they aren't aware. Now we're going to take one sip to that, ladies. Inform your kids. Now, moving right along to the virginity story. Now, this ain't, I was just being too fast, way too strong, way too soon. And this also goes into the type of person that I am, because I'm one of those people that if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And it was this situation, me losing my virginity, that kind of made me so strict on what I say and how I say it. Because I, to this day, will tell you, when I lost my virginity, one, young ladies, don't follow my example. I was way too young. Number two, I didn't want to do it. I only ended up doing it. And this is no offense to anyone. I wasn't forced. It wasn't against my will. It wasn't a rapist situation. I just, in my mind, I was like, oh, I really don't want to do it. But pressure kind of kicked in. I had said this. I had did that. The opportunity was there. We're here. Boom, I did it. And, one thing about those virginities, once they're gone, you can't take them back. So I was 13 and I was with this guy that I liked. We had a whole little arrangement going on. Me and my best friend, and it was a couple of little kids just being messy, and they shouldn't have been. And I came over to my best friend's house, and we went over to the guy's house. And we're in the room, and we've been talking about it at school all week, about when I come over there, this is what we're gonna do. And as you know, see, kids shouldn't even be talking about this type of stuff. We didn't even really know or understand any of the things that we were saying. And I know that because when the opportunity came, when push came to shove, we were actually in the room, the first thing out his mouth was, so where's the hole? And that right there is a prime example of why young children should not be having sex. That is a prime example of why we need to talk to our children, because he and I both were looking at that situation kind of like a joke that went too far, because we didn't even really know where to put it, how to put it, any of that. That's kind of what took the situation so long, because we started at his house, and it was like I said, we were 13, so everybody's immature. My best friend, another guy that was there, their cousin, and I think like two other guys. Everybody is so immature. They kept busting in the room. They kept coming in saying stuff. So we really couldn't even get into the flow of things, on top of the fact that we had no idea what we were doing. He didn't know where to put it. I didn't know where to put it. And that's what it is when kids are having sex. And I just thank God that nothing went wrong and we didn't get pregnant or anything like that, because that is how that happens. That when you fail to have a conversation about sex, then kids end up experimenting on their own. And when they experiment on their own, they find out what is to happen and what is not to happen. So we were at his house and everybody kept busting in. So we decided that we were going to leave his house and go to my best friend's house. And now her house is completely off limits. We're not even allowed to breathe really in her house. So I don't know why we went there, but that's what to get privacy. To get privacy. And in my mind, when we were transitioning to get privacy, I was like, okay, it's not gonna happen. And my mom was on her way to pick me and my best friend up. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna run out of time. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And because I really don't know why I didn't just come out my mouth and say I don't want to do it. I literally can't tell you. But I can't tell you exactly why. Nothing in my mind came out my mouth and said, no, we're not gonna do it. So we walked because he stayed in the back of the neighborhood. My best friend stayed in the front. We walked from his house to her house, and the whole while we're talking about it, we're like, you ready? We're gonna do it. I lost my virginity in my best friend's restroom, and it was so crazy because it happened so quick, and it's literally like your virginity is one of them things that once it's gone, you cannot get it back. And the severity of that wasn't even anything that was on my mind at the moment. It wasn't anything that I was thinking about in the moment, in the time, because first of all, I was 13 years old. Shouldn't even been thinking about it. Shouldn't even been doing it. But I can honestly say, and I don't think I ever had a conversation, period, about sex with anyone other than kids my age and people who just were looking at sex as a game prior to that situation. It wasn't even something that it was me losing my virginity that made me decide that I want to see what's up with this. And it was after I lost my virginity that I looked into it and I realized this is something you can never get back. This is where, this is kind of like how you make a baby, because we know they say babies come from sex, but to know that this is actually how it happens, like they come into you, all of that was going through my mind as a young 13-year-old trying to decipher. And because I didn't do it again for 3 years, and that's just me, but different women have different effects when they lose their virginity. But I have had that regret on my shoulders. Woo! for I was 13, I'm 30, 17 years. That's a long time to be walking around. I just told my mom this situation maybe like last week for the first time, how old I was and when I was. And if anyone is tuning in, the guy who thinks he took my virginity didn't take it, but now you know I was 13 and that's where it was. But I said all of that to say, a lot of things that happened to me when I was young as far as sex is concerned happened simply because I was ignorant to what sex was, period. And my mom talked to me about a lot of stuff. But in our community and in our household, talking about sex just wasn't one of them conversations that we just had. And I feel like we should have had that conversation because my mother was a teenage mother. And a lot of my aunts were teenage parents. It's a conversation that you have with your children, not necessarily because you want to inform them of what's going on, but because you want to help prevent certain situations. I could have been a teenage parent. I was experimenting with sex at a very, very young age. It was the ignorance that I had that even got me to the point where I ended up doing a lot of the things. A lot of my sexual encounters were strictly off of ignorance and experimenting, and I'm just trying to see how this goes and what it goes. And I related a lot of sex because of how it happened to how I like you. And I'm like, if it don't feel good, then I don't like you. And if it feels good, then I like you. And that is how I went on through life as far as sex is concerned. I'm like that to this day. So if I like to get to know a guy so I can find out if I like him. She said, that's why I'm so grateful I can be home more and teach my kids. Definitely. Ladies, I want you ladies to take advantage of this COVID time. Take advantage of this time at home with your kids. Take advantage of everything that I'm telling you here tonight. If you're in the household with your young ladies, with your daughters, sit down and talk to them. You don't have to go into deep details with them about sex, but you can sit down and talk to them. Baby, are you having sex? Baby, and don't be so naive to think that because your kids are young or they're on a good path and they're doing the right things that they're not having sex or sex is not on their mind. Because I can bet my life on it. My mom had no idea who, what, when, where. I know she didn't, because I just know she didn't. The situation, the type of woman that my mother is, and the situation that I know would have been, it didn't even occur. It was never even a thought on her mind because, first of all, I didn't do it. I wasn't like sexually active on a lot. I just had that encounter young. But that is, sometimes it's the kids that you don't really pay attention to that are really involved. Because I know a lot of my friends that were hot in the pants that lost their virginity way late. So I'm saying that to say you just can't be so stuck on the fact that you think your child is doing good or doing well or have their head on right that you don't have a conversation with them about sex. Because even just the simple conversation can help to prevent. She said, I show them a picture of STDs on their body parts. And also as well, you have to talk to your children about the possibilities of things because anything can happen when it comes to sex. You could die. You could have a baby. You could get sick. Anything could happen. And these conversations are important for us to have in our community strictly because of that. And that brings me to the poem that I wrote for tonight because sex is such a complex topic. There are so many elements in so many ways and so many things that you have to touch on. When we fail to have conversations about sex, we literally we rob our kids of the opportunity to really live healthy lives. Because whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not, sex is a part of life. Whether it is a natural part of life. You naturally react when you're attracted to someone. Those body parts on the inside of you naturally start doing things when you're attracted to somebody. That's why you have to have the conversation with your kids so they don't misconstrue those feelings, so they don't take those feelings as love, so that they know that sex is sex and love is love. We don't have conversations in our community about sex. So we take it upon ourselves to equate sex with whatever we want to equate it with. Some people look at sex as love. Some people look at sex as a game. Some people look at sex as just, it's a stupid man told me one day that sex is language, it's communication, it's how people communicate. That's why you can tell what type of man he is. So you just be communicating all across town. Anyway, people relate sex to the type of environment or their knowledge of sex. So if you running around, that's why and I'm saying that to say that helps us take some of the judgment off of our shoulders. We judge each other a lot strictly because this person is more promiscuous than us. This person is more sexual than us. That person may have had a different experience with sex than you have. That person may have come from a different sexual background. That person relates sex differently than you do. I'm an emotional sexual person. Someone else might be a physical sexual person. Like, it's just the physical for them. It's just about getting what you're getting and going about your way. That is how it is for some people. And that is why we have to understand what sex is, and we have to have the conversation so that we don't continue to bump into the exact same things over and over again, ladies. We are tapping into it. If you're just now tuning in with us, go ahead and drop a like, drop a comment, share. Let us know that you're here, ladies. We are talking about sex tonight. We are talking about everything sexual, the good, the bad, the ugly. We have yet to tap into the freaky, because if you think we're not going to have a conversation about the freaky, you just don't know it. Because first of all, we're going to take one more sip before I tell you my sign. Scorpio. Mom's a Scorpio. Dad's a Scorpio. Granddad's a Scorpio. So you know we're having a sexual freaky conversation as well as an informative conversation. I began this conversation by letting you ladies know why it is important to have a conversation about sex with your children. Because when you fail to have conversations with your children about sex, they end up in sticky situations such as the two that I ended up to. I'm going to tell you, it was my virginity that taught me to watch what I say and how I say it. Because I will never again get to talking like I'm about to do this, that, and that to a man when I see him. Unless I plan on really doing this and that to a man when I see him. Because trust and believe, ladies, these men are going to hold you to it. I have never, ever in my life, and it starting from the very first time. By the way, ladies, I've never been hit and quitted. Every man that has ever had me still wants me. Keep it in mind. Be good, ladies. Don't be bad. I'm saying that, hey, let's go. Why is you a Scorpio? Oh my God, I should have known it. We are the best. Shout out to all the Scorpios on my live. Zanicia is on live too. Miss Amanda should be in there. We are Scorpios running the nation, and that is why we are going to have a great sexual conversation. Zanicia, my mom had me when she was 15. She blew my mind. She did teach me well. I'm going to tell you right now, it is important for us to have the conversation. I could have been your mom at 13. Not that because I didn't. It's because I was having sex at that age, and that's when I did it. And that is just that simple. You need to know that it only takes one time. Like, I watch Paternity Court a lot, ladies. I watch a lot of Paternity Court. And the first thing to do to come out the man's mouth, it was just one time. Brother, do you know it don't even have to be a whole time for it to make a baby? It could be half of a time. It could be a slip up. It could be a hiccup. It could be a pre-cup. Let me just let you know, it doesn't matter if it's one time, two times, three times, four times. A time is a time. Have the conversation with your kids, ladies, because once it happens, it's happened. I told you I didn't do it again after the first time for 3 years. That didn't matter. I'd already did it. It was already gone. I couldn't get it back. So it doesn't matter how we try to dress it up or rearrange it or slice it up or put it down. Once it's gone, it's gone. If you fail to have that conversation with your child prior to it getting taken, the only thing you can do is coast them along. And one thing that anyone that has ever had sex can tell you, once you done been smacked, no. Once you done been tapped, you ain't going back. Whether it's good, the bad, the ugly. You may never like sex again if it's bad. You may love it if it's good. You may just like it for what it is. But once you have had sex, once you have had someone up in you, once you done been up in someone, there is no going back, ladies. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, and any man watching this live, you already know what we're saying. So that is why we have to have the conversation. That is why you have to talk about it. Because young ladies need to know that it can happen, how it's going to happen, and we need to have let these ladies know what these men going to say. Talk to your daughters. Spit them the same game you were spitting these ladies, so that when they hear it out in the street, they be like, my dad told me about that. My dad told me you was going to say, you know what? My mom told me this exact same situation happened to her. So what you about to do? You about to ask me to come in the back with you? Inform your kids. I'd rather my daughter be real sassy and informative when it comes to sex so she can protect herself rather than be getting sucked into naive situations because she's unaware. He put his arm behind her shoulder. She don't have no idea what this is going to lead to. He kicked back and take his shirt off. She don't know what he doing. She think he relaxing. No, she need to know as soon as that arm go up behind her back. Okay, I see where he's going. He's not trying to watch this movie. He's trying to get close and get to know me. You need to let your children know what is going on with sex so that they can have an understanding of the situation when it occurs. Not so that they know what to do. Now, I ain't saying give your kids no tricks, no flips, no, none of that. Don't do any of that. But you need to have the conversation with your children so that they are aware. And that brings me to the poem for tonight, ladies. It is called, Let's Talk About Sex. It's more than a physical act. Sex can take over your mind and control how you react. Sex is a beautiful thing when it's done right. It's physical, mental, spiritual, and it can keep you up all night. Sex is how you make a baby. That's why we have to discuss it, because sexual mistakes hit our life the roughest. Little girls need to know how to protect their sex, not because they're so young, but because sex is so complex. You can give it away, and sadly, it can be taken. Teach a girl about sex so she's aware if ever in the situation. Let her know what she might hear. Let her know what she might feel. Educate her so that she can decipher what's wrong and what's real. Let's talk about an orgasm, because so many don't know the feeling. Just having sex because it's a thing to do, it's not even fulfilling. Sex is a give and take activity, ladies. You should come too. And if you don't know what that means, baby, sex is not yet for you. Talk about sex because it also relieves stress. And that is what a lot of you need. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. You just have to keep it clean. Let's talk about protection because STDs are real. Speak about sex and the possibilities because some of those possibilities, they kill. It's an adult activity, and yes, it feels good. It can also hurt if you aren't doing it how you should. Sex begins with foreplay, and that's what a lot of you are missing. No licking, touching, sucking, rubbing, or kissing. Sex is personal, and you're not supposed to let everyone in. And I can go on and on and on about sex, but that's where I'll end, truth be told. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we have to discuss when it comes to sex. Sex is a physical, mental, spiritual, and it's all of those combined. That is why you have to talk about it, ladies. That is why we have to sit down and let each other know what sex is. Everything that I said in that poem is exactly why we have to talk into it. We're going to jump right into one of the points that was made in the poem that I have not yet discussed. Lay orgasm. Ladies, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to understand that you should be having more orgasms in sex than men should be having. And I'm going to have this conversation with you because so many women, we are so used to just letting these men do what they want to do in the bedroom. A lot of women, and I have to tell you ladies this too, for you ladies that don't know how to move. When you are having, I hope my dad isn't watching. When you are having sex, ladies, you have to participate. It's really like a competition type thing, and you want to win. Only because it's a mental thing. You just lay there and allow a man to sex you, that can get inside your mind and it can become, it can change you. And that's why I'm gonna say that before I get into telling you about these orgasms. Because if you don't understand that you need to jump in and have a little control or a little fight back in this sexual activity, ladies, you're gonna get these orgasms back to back to back to back to back. And you might not know how to act, because I'm gonna tell you, that is how the mind is controlled. Sex is a very powerful thing. That is why you have to talk about it, ladies. You have to let your children know that this man really ain't as good as you think he is, honey. He's sexually into you. He got you by the clitoris. It's a technical term, ladies, where we have to take back these words that were stolen from us. These are the reasons why we don't talk about sex, because every word that has to do with the woman when it comes to sex is demeaned as something you ain't supposed to say. And I'm gonna refill my cup to that one. Ooh, almost feel that all over the place. We don't like to say, I'm guessing Miss Amanda's gonna come in on a second. We don't like to say orgasm, because I'm gonna say it, because you ladies need to understand. You need to get these orgasms out here. Take one sip to that. Far too often are ladies mixed up in sex where they're just pleasing the guy. Because not most of the time, ladies, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say this, sex normally ends after the man has hit his climax. Once he done tapped out, it's like we're stuck. That is why the orgasm is so important. And I'm saying orgasm because I want you to understand that is something that you can achieve with or without your man. So ladies, we need to understand how to tap into that. Get to know your body. Get to know who you are. Understand the buttons and spots you need to hit to make your stuff click. I'm getting a little taken away with the conversation, forgetting that we're on live, and I'm keeping it PG-13. Well, it's PG as we can. We're not going to use any profanity. So you have to understand how to make yourself click. Get to know yourselves, ladies. In our community, we don't really discuss, what is it even called? I don't even know. We don't even discuss masturbation. I can't think of the word. Masturbation. It's like a uncomfortable conversation, even for me. But ladies, we have to get comfortable with having this conversation on an adult level. Now, this is a conversation you don't need to be having with your little daughter. Now, all that other stuff we were saying, you don't even need to go deep into sex when it comes to the kids. You just need to let them know what could, should, would happen, and the basics so that they don't go around asking other people. But once you get into trying to help your daughter develop as a woman, we have to discuss getting to know your body, honey. Understand the parts of you that click so that young ladies can understand. We need to it's really about taking back control. When you understand the parts of your body that make you shiver and shake, and you understand the spots of your body that you need to hit, you kind of take some of the power off of these men. Because we get to thinking, oh, he touched me right there. Oh, he know how to touch me. No, baby, that's just your spot. I know my grandma not coming on here. Okay, listen, ladies, my grandma might step on live, so I'm gonna really have to clean it up for you ladies. So what I'm gonna tell you is, back to what I was saying, you have to know your body so that you don't think that these men are just like, he's just doing you so well. He just knows you so well. No, baby, that's your spot. If you hit that spot every time the exact same way that he did, it's not him, it's you. Take back some of this power so that you can retake the power of yourself. Sex is supposed to be more fun than this. We're not supposed to allow sex to control us the way we do. We're not supposed to allow sex to be like something that men hold over our heads. As far as when it comes to getting you in check, don't nothing get you in check. Like the magic stick. You know, if he can hit once, he can hit twice. He got take back the power from the magic stick, ladies. And here we are, Miss Amanda. Don't come in and try to take over the screen. We are so thankful to have you reporting live. And let me go ahead and unmute you. Thank you so much. We are talking about sex here tonight, and I shared with them my virginity story. I told them everything that happened, and now she's aware of the names and everything, ladies. I gave my mom the 411 breakdown, but I ain't gonna do that on live. And she's kind of looking like me here tonight too. Thank you for coming in, Miss Amanda. Do you want to tell us a sexual experience that you may have had? How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Well, I'm not going to tell my secrets, but what I am going to say is, excuse me. First of all, y'all say Happy Mother's Day to my mother who's sitting here on the side of me. She was watching you, Uniquia.
You said what now?
Say Happy Mother's Day to my mother.
Happy Mother's Day, Grandma.
All right, baby. For some reason, I can't hear you that loud. You're not. I don't know if it's my thing. Is your thing turned up?
Yes, mine is. It's really. I think it's you because I can't really. But okay.
Okay, but anyway, I just wanted to more so not touch on my sexual experiences, but
That's what we
women.
want you to touch on.
But I want to touch on women in general because I feel like, especially we're talking about colored women and girls, and I feel like we as young colored girls aren't educated as we should be at a younger age, because I know with me growing up, my father was a pastor, my family were Christians, and they didn't talk about sex in the house. And I really feel like we should talk about it. Sex should be a conversation in our homes.
Absolutely.
Even at a younger age, because as colored women and girls growing up, I feel like when you do decide to experience sex, you should be knowledgeable about sex.
Right, right. That's
how to
exactly,
have sex,
exactly.
when to have sex, your body and the sexual things what sex
that
does
is why,
to your body.
like Denicia said in the comments, that's why we need the elders to speak up, tell y'all truth. That is
right.
so true. A lot of ladies in our community are so ashamed of what they did, who they did it with, and how they did it, that they don't share their experiences with the younger children.
I will say this.
So we can't really learn from their mistakes because we don't know what their mistakes are. Go ahead.
I had my first child at the age of 16 years old, which means I was pregnant at 15 years old. No, I was pregnant at 16. I was getting ready to turn 17 when I had my first child. So when I began to have sex, I wasn't knowledgeable even enough to protect myself even back then.
Right.
So these are the things that we younger kids are getting into sexual relationships, and they don't even know what they're getting into. They don't even know what it does to their bodies, their minds, their souls. And that's the part of it that I think we need to bring awareness to, because we need to know, what does sex do? What does it mean when you have sex? When I have sex you get in these sexual relations, what happens? What happens when you get intertwined? I mean, but the thing about it is, I think today that young people are more knowledgeable because of social media, because of
exactly, but not the right way. Like, you don't want your kids to learn about sex on social media, because in the world and on social media, sex is just like a fun thing. And it's not that it's not fun. We all know it's fun, ladies. But it's a whole lot more with that. Sex is an adult activity simply because it leads to kids. It leads to STDs. It's more than just fun. When your kids are looking at it the same way they look at relationships, because we don't have those conversations. And I do have a question for you, Miss Amanda. And it's actually a real question. Like, it's a real personal question, but I'm going to ask it for everybody else. Why, being that you were a teenage parent and you were sexually active young, why didn't you have that conversation with me about sex?
Excuse me, y'all. I'm eating some fish right now. You can't come to Columbia, South Carolina and not get some fish. But anyway, you said, why didn't I have that conversation?
Why didn't we have it? Why did I don't ever, and I'm saying this, I don't ever recall us ever having a sexual conversation like, this is what sex is, this is how you do. Have you ever had sex? Like, I don't recall those conversations.
Right. Like, and I agree. And part of that reason is because at that time, when you were younger, I was still a young parent. I was a child raising a child. I was still young raising children. And because I had children at such a young age, I didn't get a chance to experience life myself. So there was still a lot of things that I was learning as I went.
Right,
we was learning together. So yes, that's what I'm talking about. That and we can't blame the schools no more.
Right.
We have to educate our children at home. We can't expect the schools to do our job.
Right. And if you guys can believe it or not, her answer is exactly why I never asked. Like, cause the same way I can ask her why we never talked about it, she can come back at me and be like, well, why you never asked? I never asked simply because of the fact that I knew my mother was a teenage mother, and I felt like and I told you I was 13 when I started having sex. So if I would have came to her and asked her something about that, I felt like she would have hit me with the "Are you having sex?" question, and I didn't want to have to explain to her that I was, but I wasn't, and how that went down. And I'm only sharing this with you ladies because this is a typical situation that happens in our community with mothers and daughters. And this is how daughters get caught up in a lot of situations. I just happen to have a different type of relationship with my mom, so we worked a lot. So I didn't really have time for a lot of that, but it would have helped me a lot to have a conversation. And she and I were both hesitant to have the conversation rooting from the same issue. That's why I'll say elders, parents, seasoned ladies, we need you ladies to speak up. We need you ladies to make this conversation comfortable. We need you ladies to inform us, because another thing that we are learning is there is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing, let me tell you, babies have been being made the same way since the beginning of time. If you think that oral sex and all that stuff is new, you're tripping. They was doing it back in the day. You can only do it so many ways for so long. If you're gonna be stuck with somebody for a long time, you're gonna experiment. We have to educate our children. And the big kicker is you want to teach your children about sex simply because you want your daughter to be good to her husband. Like, we talk about a lot of things when it comes to pleasing your husband. In our community, let me tell you, in other communities, they talk about how to please their man. They talk about mothers, daughters, aunties, sisters, and cousins. They talk about spots that men need that you need to hit on a man so that you can subdue him. We need to talk about it because you want to tell your daughter how to really capture her man.
Growing up as a pastor's daughter, growing up as coming from a Christian background on both sides of the family, I had preachers and ministers and all of that all up in my family, so that it wasn't allowed to be talked about in the house.
That's what I'm saying. Even in those households, we have to discuss sex. There should be no limit because one thing about it, it's not saying that you should be out here having sex, because the goal for all of us is to wait until marriage or however you want to do that. But you still need to know how to do it when push comes to shove. Pastors have sex. That's how y'all got here. It's six of y'all.
Mama, wait a minute. My mom just told me. My mom is sitting here listening to this. She said I tipped off and got pregnant.
She said, listen. Well, let me tell you, it began with one time. She said she tripped up and got pregnant. And that was the ripple effect to 6 kids. She should have told that story.
Well, I had to tip off because you couldn't talk about it. I couldn't say, hey, Mom, I got a boyfriend. I'm ready to go see him. I had to sneak out.
Exactly. That's why we had to open those doors. The reason why the same things keep happening in our community, the reason why we're hit with the same things back to back to back is because we don't talk about it. Back in the day, if you got pregnant, you got married. A lot of our aunts and uncles and grandmoms and grandpas from back in the day are together strictly because they were having sex, didn't know what they were doing, got pregnant, and they had to get married. See, nowadays you get pregnant and you can just raise the baby. Back then they had to get married, and even then they didn't share with their kids why they had to get married or how they ended up getting pregnant. We're just looking at it like, oh, our parents had these great families. No, they got 10 kids because they had one and ended up getting stuck together. We're gonna keep having sex.
You and Lily.
That is why we have to discuss it. That is why sex has to be a conversation, because sex is going to happen. It's going to continue. We're going to have sex. And that brings me back to orgasms, ladies. Actually, let me tell you, my grandma was the one that told me. You know how you hit that ball? I didn't know that. I was already deep into sex when I found out that women are supposed to come too. That's why I said that in the poem. Ladies, it's a give and take situation. You supposed to come too. I knew my grandma. We were talking, and she was like, you don't need to be having sex because it's too early, but you don't even know how to come yet. And I was like, what do you mean come? Only the guys come. She was like, no, girls come too. And I was like, wait, what we do? I literally had no idea that women have that it's called coming, that we come. That's why you have to have those conversations with your kids. You can be so tied up having sex, you don't even know how your body is supposed to react and what it's supposed to do when you're having sex. I didn't know that women could come because I was a little girl, I was young and should have been having sex. I'm thinking that because when guys come, if you're a virgin, stay that way. If you're not, when men come, it shoots on out. So when I was a kid, because ours don't shoot on out, I'm like, we don't come. I don't know what we do. And that was way before, when you're also, ladies, this is why, ladies, this is the main reason why you wait to have sex. Young boys do not even know what they're doing. They don't even know how to make you come. They don't know how to create an orgasm. So you out here having sex all willy-nilly with these young men, and they don't even know how to satisfy you. That is why we have to talk to our young ladies and young men about sex. That is why we have to inform them. We are trying to tap into conversations and issues to help them. Ladies, this conversation has been full packed with so many things. We have talked about now prevention, because you have to protect yourselves. Teach your children about sex so that if they ever end up in a situation that is possibly not, my iPad going dead. Let me go ahead and put that on the charger because I don't want that to happen. If they ever end up in a situation where they don't know what's going on and they're not 100% positive that what is going on is something sexual, then they may not even. Here she come doing whatever she's doing. Then you have to let your children know what sex is so they know how to protect themselves. You have to let your children know what sex is so they know how to satisfy themselves, so they know how to recognize themselves, so they know that they can take control. Ladies, we need to talk about sex so that we know how to do it, because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of us think that that's a little theory, and because this is Black Girl Beauty, we can talk for real. In the Caucasian persuasion, they're known, like in the sexual world, they're known for being freakier than we are, only because they're willing to do stuff that we're not willing to do, and they're taught things that we're not taught. That is why we have to inform our ladies. We don't need to be out here being known as the less sexual community. No, ladies, we need to learn how to do them flips and tricks and splits and splots that they do too. And we need to you also have to learn your men. Like, ladies, we have in our community, we have this whole attitude and these chip on our shoulders. You got to take that off when it comes, like, listen, sex is a powerful thing. The same way they use it, you can use it. Do not be so uptight and so stuck up that you're not willing to learn new sexual things and experiment sexually. I'm not saying you got to be bringing people into the bedroom and doing all types of things, but you got to be willing to do a little something. You got to be willing to move a little bit in the bedroom, ladies. You got to be willing to, surprise a little bit. You got to be willing to figure some things out.
Stuff y'all got going on, but I will say this, ladies, be sure, if you have not already, go over to www.blackgirlbeauty.org. Oh God, what's James doing on here?
Hold on, how that happened?
How he get on
and
here?
You better not.
To do with this conversation.
We're talking about sex, ladies.
He has nothing to do with this conversation.
No.
Yes.
Hold on, wait. You know what? Let me go ahead and bring you in.
Listen, no.
He has
nothing to do with this
Why have
conversation.
we never had a conversation about sex? You should have informed me what these men were going to say to me before things happen.
You're getting a beating, and your mom's getting a beating.
What?
He wasn't allowed to talk about it either.
Jesus, keep me near the cross. Lord.
No. See, ladies, this is what happens when you don't inform your kids about sex. They have these types
You
of
are my baby girl.
Fine. father. You should have informed me what these men were gonna say and try how they were gonna try to come at me the same way you chased my mom down in the parking lot. You should have told me what to do when that was happening to me.
You wasn't gonna listen anyway. Even if
Wait a minute, we had that conversation, Chuck. We had that conversation.
I have never had that conversation. I have never had a conversation about sex with either one of you two.
Oh,
in the past. Wow. Now, recently, me and my dad have been talking about it, Mom. He's been putting me up on game recently, but I'm grown now.
Don't listen to him. I'm telling you, don't listen to nothing he say about sex.
It worked for you.
You know what? I'm gonna leave on that note.
I'm leaving too. I'm leaving too.
Well, good night. Good night, Mom and Dad. It's so nice to have you guys here as well.
I just got one thing to say.
We got register. I'm done. I'm out. It's 9 o'clock, Uniquia.
Good night.
Me, how you clog off this thing?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is my mom and dad. Y'all have to speak to your kids about sex. You see how it turned out? Because they didn't talk to me about sex. That is what you have to. You have to speak to your children about sex, ladies and gentlemen. It is a conversation that has to be talked about in our community. The good, the bad, the ugly. Figure out what it is that you need to learn about yourself so that you can take back your own control. You need to figure out what it is that you need to do so that you know how to please yourself. Because sometimes, ladies, you're not gonna always have a man. Men, sometimes you're not gonna always have a woman. You know what? I don't even have to say that. Men are pretty good at pleasing themselves. Men don't have no problem handling themselves like they need to. It's women that have such a bad issue and depend on men sexually so much. We have to take back that power. Talk to your children about sex. Get to know sex. Read books. Them books that we used to read back in the day. That's why most women from the 90s, we a little different. We was reading The Coldest Winter Ever and Fly Girl and Shame on It All and Zane and all of that. Read. Teach your kid. Now, I read a lot of books back in the day too. That's why. Anyway. Sex is a powerful conversation, ladies and gentlemen. And next week, ladies, we are going to be reporting live from Miami because my baby brother, he's going to be my baby brother to the day he died. I don't care what nobody say. My baby brother, Vinzel, is graduating from the University of Miami with his master's degree. Yay, Vinny! He has passed me, and I'm so proud of him. He is going to be graduating from the University of Miami. So next week, I'm going to be in Miami. So Chitter Channel will be live, and I'm going to do, this was supposed to be First Thursday because it is First Thursday, and it's the 6th. The 6th is my number. But next week, we're going to do our Sister Circle, which is what we do every first Thursday. Next week, we're going to do our Sister Circle live from the beach. And I'm going to have you ladies tune in, and we're going to discuss topics that we don't normally talk about. We're really just going to sit down and talk about everything that we've discussed thus far as Chitter Chatter is concerned. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations to Vinzel. He is about to graduate. He passed me. I started with my bachelor's, and I'm so proud and thankful to say that my little brother has passed me, and he is going on to get his master's, and he is about to have his graduates. I got to ask him his major. Sorry about that. I don't even know it. But I'm so proud of him. So we're going to be pouring live from Miami next week for our Sister Circle. I want you ladies to tune in. Drop me a message if you ladies want to be a part of our circle next week for Chitter Chatter. We're just going to be talking about, let me see what the topic is, because I definitely wrote it down in my slideshow. The topic for next week is going to be Label Me Not. And this is a topic that is very near and dear to me because I don't know if you ladies notice, I don't wear name brands. If you see me with a name brand on, somebody bought it for me, or I got it on discount. I don't wear name brands, not because I can't. I just don't. I look good, and you know. My dad bought me this shirt. These my mom's earrings and her scarf. I'm gonna tell you right now, you guys, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You gotta learn how to put it together, ladies. And we are talking about that. I'm gonna bring a good group of ladies together, and we're gonna show you how to look beautiful, whether you got a name brand on or not. Because in our community, we got to get out of that. In our community, it's real heavy on what name you got on. And some of that stuff is ugly. I'm going to go ahead and say that some of that stuff y'all be wearing don't even be cute. Like, it just has a name on it. And you think because it got a name on it, sorry that you boo-boo the fool and you spent $1,200 on that ugly shirt, those ugly shoes. Like, that's what we got to get out of. We got to get out of name brands. If you like it and it looks good, spend what it costs. If you like it and it looks good, get it. Don't let it be because it has a name on it. You ladies have to understand that you are the brand. If you don't know that you're the brand, you're going to forever be looking for a name. I don't need no name on my shirt. Matter of fact, my name is the best name to put on my shirt. Black Girl Beauty might be on my shirt. We are tapping into that next week. Feline Apparel is the name on the shirt. You got to learn how to jump into it, tap into it, ladies. If it's not your name, it's not no name that you should be flaunting off. If it's not your friend's name, we need to learn how to step out of the name or what's popular or what's cool or who said what, and tap into what looks good. Tap into you. Learn how to make these outfits snap, crackle, and pop without a name. Because I sure do. It's not something that has to be on you. It's in you. And that's what I want you ladies to tap into. That's what we're going to be tapping into next week, live from the beach. So I want you ladies I want to thank you ladies for tuning in here with me tonight. We had a couple of special guests drop in. My mom, my dad, my grandma was in the background. Mind you, ladies, we're all Scorpios. So you just seen a real Scorpio connection going on right now. We got Zanicia in the comments. She's a Scorpio. Just found out Miss Kiwanis is a Scorpio. Yo, we Scorpio'd up. And I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna rep Scorpio gang till you can't anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chitter, where we discuss what matters when Black girls Chitter. Thank you, ladies, for tuning in here. I hope to see you all next week. Let's go ahead and tune in. Label me not. It has been a plum pleasing pleasure. Have a great night.